Hello and welcome to Filling in the Gaps. I'm Justin.
And I'm Darren.
Today we're going to talk about something that's a little bit different from the norm for us. It is a puzzle game, but it is a board game, I guess you would say. There's no board. It's not a card game, though there are cards. It's
an escape room in a box.
That's a better way to put it. Escape room in a box called Box One, created by Neil Patrick Harris. It is a very, very interesting escape room. For one, it is a variety of things that we can't get into in the spoiler-free section, but we will definitely get into in the spoiler section. I know that one thing that he said was like, please don't give away the secrets, but this is kind of what we do. So realize that we will get to that, but after our spoiler warning. I found this online, and I sent you the link and said, this looks interesting. And I think you had bought it that night or something.
I bought it kind of immediately. I was like, yep, I'm having that. But the shipping to get it out here was ridiculous. I think it cost more than the game to ship it out here. So
that is the sad thing about it.
It was worth it because, basically buying 2 copies of it, but I played it and then I reset it and you got to play it as well. So it's like, it's okay. Not bad.
That is true. There are a few things that I think may have been a bit spoiled in my version just because you had already played it once. But we can't talk about that just yet. Overall, I think that it's just a really interesting concept. It's a great way to have an escape room that we've done a different kind of escape room in a box before. That comes with a timer and everything. We may talk about that at some point as well. The thing is, though, that's more designed for more people.
Yeah.
Whereas this one has it is designed, it's box one for one person. You could play it as more than one person, certainly.
You could, yeah.
But there's something about this one that feels good when it's just for you.
Yeah, it's not too hard, so it's like you don't really need other people to kind of bounce ideas off and stuff. And
I would say that it's just an absolutely interesting experience. If you want to play it and you have the money, I would highly recommend it. I would say get it new because, as I said before, after Darren had played it, there were a couple of things that I think I was able to see that I wouldn't have if the box had been fresh.
Yeah, I know you can buy copies of it on eBay and stuff. Like people have like reboxed it and stuff, and they're selling it on again. So it's good to know, actually, for people maybe because I was tempted. When I looked it up and I saw the shipping cost, I was like, well, I wonder what it's like on eBay, and people were selling it for about $20 or maybe 30, so 25 to 50% off. Now knowing what you know, it's probably not worth it if you're thinking about buying it secondhand.
I will say this about the box. It is really beautiful. It is, I think, roughly the same size as like Catan and those.
Yeah, it's definitely that standard board game size. It's going to fit nicely in your collection. If you've got a shelf dedicated to board games, it's standard size, I think.
It's a goldish color. It reflects well with the light.
It's really high quality. It's really nice, and it's heavy. It's durable. It's got those like indented bits. It feels like it's got layers to it. It's definitely. I was not expecting that when I opened it up.
And speaking of when you opened it up, I was here when you opened it up the first time, and we opened it up and we see this beautiful sort of velvet covered plastic, as well as this set of cards, one other card that says you'll need this at the end, and a pen and a notebook. And we kind of went, well,
my first reaction was, what, I paid all this shipping for this?
Yeah.
I paid for a box.
And my impression was, it's important.
Yeah.
And it is, but we can't get into that yet. The one thing I do want to say is just the way the game is described as a game for one, created by one, an ever-evolving game of trivia, codes, puzzles, and discovery is about as good as I could ever describe it. I think that is the perfect description for it. The way it's explained on the website, the Theory 11 website, is pretty much that. And that's what intrigued us. That is going to be something that's a variety of things all in one. And it is, and it's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. I think you would as well. Play Box 1.
Yep, definitely.
But for those of you that haven't played, trust us, the spoilers will give away pretty much everything. You don't want to listen if you're at all interested in playing. If you've played Box 1, stay on. Otherwise, here's your spoiler warning.
What sound should we have for that? Neil Patrick Harris.
It's a magic trick. You see, I'm something of a magician.
I'm probably going to rely a bit on you for...
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem. But I'm going to probably have to rely on you a bit for the order because I did things out of order.
I didn't. Yeah, so...
I did quite a lot out of order. As I mentioned in the spoiler-free section, when I saw the box and everything in it, my first thought was, there's something in a pen. There's something underneath the whole box. There's something about the box, especially with box being in the name. Wait, yeah, there's a lot more here than we're looking at. So as soon as I was able to get my hands on it, I did start. I said, no, I'm going to follow the instructions first. I will do everything as I'm supposed to. But as soon as I got stumped, then I started doing the escape room thing of, I'm missing something, let me look everywhere. And right. I started to find all sorts of things I wasn't supposed to yet. That's partly because it had been used once, I think.
Yeah.
But also a lot just on me and the way that I play games and do escape room type games. Mm. Box 1 comes with an interesting note, which I was actually kind of surprised didn't play into the game.
I've got a list of things. Well, it's not a big list, but I've got a list of things that I was looking for that I'm surprised that they didn't use. And I think I know why, is because when Box 2 comes out, they don't want to blow everything on Box 1. They want to keep some surprises for Box 2. And so, yeah, that was one of them. Invisible ink on the pad was another one. There was a bunch of things where I was like, there's got to be something here. I was like, oh, there's not.
Did you get out your UV flashlight?
Yes.
Darren at one point had created an escape room just for a group of friends, and you bought it just for that, right?
Yeah,
the UV light. So we were able to look at stuff that you had created, and yeah, I'm not surprised that you would. I'd be in real trouble if I needed that.
Yeah, and that's even when I broke it out, I was like, this is unfair because unless they provide you with one, that's really not right. But
well, the pen is very small, but the laser pointer lights have gotten so small now. I wouldn't rule it out for the future.
That is a cool pen. I liked it. I like it. But yeah, there's definitely a bunch of things coming for Box 2 if they make it, and I hope they do. God, I'd definitely buy Box 2 in a heartbeat. Yeah, the instructions. What does it actually say? Hang on. So yeah, hey friend, it's your friendly friend Neil Patrick Harris. I hope you're alone and excited to challenge yourself because you're about to dive deep into my crazy awesome new game, Box 1. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, it's just setting up the game. And it's just telling you kind of the rules. You got to use the internet, and that is it. But yeah, definitely. And then from what we know from the rest of the game, it's like I think even Neil Patrick Harris uses the term real estate when he's describing it, because there's a little video again at the end. And he's like, it is a lot of real estate in there, but we need that to make the puzzles. Otherwise, if it was only the cards, that card, a pen, and a blank pad, it would be like, it's not really a lot I can do with that. Because there was one point where it's like, look under the black velvet part. And as soon as you take that off, you look into the bottom of the box. And I was like, oh, it's that. I didn't realize it was actually literally under the black velvet bit.
See, I had the same problem. And this is part of where I went completely out of order, because once I realized there was more to the bottom of the box, I saw nothing else for ages.
Right.
You had to help me with that, because it's one real problem, and it's not one that I can see a feasible way to fix. The box is in many ways a puzzle box, but it's also meant to be, I wouldn't say cheap. It's definitely a quality box for what it is, but you are still making it out of paper, cardboard, plastic, those things that I was so afraid I was going to break things as I was trying to get through them. Let's start at the beginning. You open up the box, you see the things we mentioned before. A deck of cards and a holder. You have a pen, a notebook with box 1 logo, everything on it, and you have one card. And in this sleeve, it just says box 1 on the outside, but when you pull out the card, it says, you will need this card later. Here is the first thing that was kind of ruined by the fact that you'd played it before. When we looked at it initially, we looked at this card.
We did see it together, yeah.
And there was nothing.
Yeah.
But playing through again, well, it's there. I can see it if I hold it up to the light at all. The light reflects off it. But that first time must have been absolutely magical.
Yeah, yeah. Because, at one point it says, put that card in the freezer. I was like, oh, I mean, I knew immediately. I was like, okay, there's something written on it. I couldn't wait to see what it was. But when you pull it out and it works, it's like, wow, that's pretty cool. Because, that card was blank. It was just, there was nothing on it. Yeah, it's you can totally see that message now. You just hold it up to the light and it just reflects right off of it. The first thing you do is you dig into the cards, isn't it?
Yeah, and the cards are listed 1, 2, 3, 4. As you flip them over, they have a number, they have a description. The first few are really just saying, hey, this is how it's going to work, get ready to do this. And then it starts to become trivia, which apparently is how the game was originally thought to be. That it would be this trivia game you would go through.
Yeah.
And as you go through, answers from previous ones are needed for later. Because at first, it seems like, well, I don't really need to do all the cards. I could skip ahead. And really, you could, but you'd miss out on the great turn. There is an amazing moment for me where the game changed. And that's well worth it. I was having fun with the trivia, especially how the answer from before is needed for this one. So if you look at card 6, using the capital letters from the previous card, solve this. So you have to look back at that card and find those, and they spell Paris. And then the next one will say, that is the capital of what country? And there are all sorts of little things, weird things like words being circled, which I immediately saw and started writing them all down, but didn't write the card number, so later I would have to come back and go through this. Most of these were a piece of cake. I had no trouble with most of these. I think the problem was, for me, there was just one point where I didn't understand what the question was asking for. There's a point where you get to Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes had an assistant, Watson, and then something about a school for wizards. And I went, oh, well, Emma Watson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I properly read the question. I think that even the number of letters worked, so it still fit.
Right.
And then when I got to the next one, I went, oh no, I know exactly what I've done wrong, and was immediately able to fix it.
Oh yeah. You're talking about question 11. Use the name from the previous answer. This female actress launched her career in a series of movies about a boy named
Harry Potter. Is the series of movies, not the actor.
Not the actress, yeah.
It's like, oh, I didn't read that very clearly. The next one clearly talks about that he has a scar. And so
I put Bolt for this one. I don't know why I put Bolt down, but
that's the shape of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
But it gets through a bunch of these, and the thing is, you get down to the last one. And you get down to the last one much sooner than expected.
Yeah.
And this is the beauty of this game. I did have a little trouble with the last couple, just because, again, I didn't read it properly. I didn't quite understand it properly. And it leads into, oh, Neil Patrick Harris has a secret. That's kind of your last answer. And you flip that over, and then all of a sudden, it's not really cards anymore. Boy, does it look like cards, though. It feels like cards. The weight isn't quite right, but when you're holding the whole stack in that holder, it feels right.
Yeah.
But as soon as you go to flip over the next one and it's nothing, it's a magnet-held secret compartment.
Yeah, it's a little box inside the box. And what's that got in it? So yeah, it's got this gold kind of token, which is like one of those cipher wheels. It's got a note, and Oh yeah, it's got this little ID tag thing for Martin Maloney, Chief Innovation Officer at NPH Games. Like, what? Oh, this is where it becomes more like rather than an escape room, the game changes into like an ARG, which I really appreciated.
It worked really well. I did at first think that you had forgot something or broke something because the cipher wheel is missing the center that I need.
Yeah.
But I held off sending you a message about that because I thought, well, maybe I'll see it later. Maybe I'll see it later. There is a note inside that says, hello, if you're reading this, thank you already. My name is Martin Maloney. I can't say much now, but Neil has kidnapped me and I need your help. I created a pair of keys inside the stack of challenge cards you just played. You will need to use those torn key cards to access a secret compartment inside the game. Remove the black plastic tray from the game box. Locate the 3 keyholes underneath, which that's the part I never understood.
Yeah.
Insert the, quote, keys and push. Good luck, I'm counting on you.
Yeah, because I got the keys together because there's like cards with chunks taken out of them.
I wrote them down and then came back to them later.
Because you basically, if you put them as one, it's not as strong, but if you double them up, it becomes stronger. And so I was sliding this around the base of the box looking for a hook.
I was doing the same thing. The folds of the box, I thought maybe there's a way to catch it and pull and open it. And I was so worried about damaging these 2 cards. Just because they're not complete. I mean, they're not ripped. They look, to me, what I originally thought was, I'm going to have to hold this up to a piece of paper or something and see the words that match the slots.
Yeah, I thought it'd be some kind of box cipher or something like that.
Here's where I definitely got ahead of the game because I couldn't figure out this one little thing. I didn't understand the note. When I saw underneath, I thought bottom of the box, which apparently you did as well. I could feel something was not quite right. And this is where I started going, oh, well, let me explore.
Yeah.
Flip the box up, could feel that the bottom was moving. There's something different about it. Was able to get it upside down.
There's a hole in the bottom of the box as well.
Which is just covered by this little black dot. But this is way for later in the game.
Yeah.
This is
the end game.
This is the end game. This is me breaking the game. And when I opened up this part, I thought, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, but I couldn't get the flaps open. And this is where I thought, oh, I need the keys to get the flaps open. I'm trying to do this. But before I broke anything, I was like, I need to figure out, is this what you're talking about? Because you said there was one thing you had to break.
All right, yeah.
But I couldn't see it here. And it's like, it doesn't look like it's broken. Something's wrong. But now, this won't be great for the listeners, but do you see how this one goes on top?
No, that's not put back together right. That actually, I put it back correctly.
Really?
It has to, when I came, this was not open. This was all neatly, like, delicate. It was like, I felt I was going to rip the box open. Because it was tucked underneath. It was like folding when you want to make a cardboard box and you don't have any tape. You know how you fold the things underneath each other. That's how it arrived.
That's how it was, and that's how I had to very carefully
I had to tease it apart, man. Yeah, I was like terrified I was going to rip something, and so but I even made a video of it because I was like, I'll forget exactly how this was put back together. So I watched it again. And I was like, yeah, it wasn't like that. It was like tucked underneath each other.
All right, well, we can fix it when we put it back together.
I put it back together the first time, so it's okay.
Yeah, but I was so worried about ripping it. So I thought that you had messed it up, and just the weight of this fake bottom was the one that was supposed to hold it in.
No, because that's all there. So imagine this, but it's all snug. And so,
that's the way it was when I got it.
I did it. I did it right. Yeah,
you did a very good job putting it back. It was just worrying for me. Yeah. So I thought, oh well, certainly they wouldn't make it like this because it'd be so easy to rip.
Yeah,
but no. And in the bottom, you can see that there's a map, and there's all these clues.
Stuff off to the side, and you're like,
but I can't quite see it. And I was trying to gently bend and peek through and unfold. But I was like, okay, maybe not yet.
Yeah.
That's when I sent you the message and you helped me with this part. because you'd had the same problem and stopped me from messing up the cards, trying to shove them in weird ways.
Yeah, I was like trying to tuck them under these flaps. I'm looking for
I
something.
did that too.
Something there.
I'm amazed after the two of us that the cards have survived as well as they have.
They are good quality cards. Okay. And going back to Theory 11's website, it's like they deal in magic tricks, gimmicks, card decks. That seems to be their whole kind of shtick, you know? If their cards are like this, I'd be quite happy to buy a deck of cards from them for sure.
They're expensive, but if they're this quality, I think that they'd probably be worth it. As far as then what we're supposed to be doing is we're supposed to be, as you said before, poking the cards in as a key into these 3 holes in the plastic liner that we've pulled out. And when you do that, a section opens up, and now you get more things to play with.
Yes.
There's a whole envelope. The compartment, the velvet one, is very well hidden. I didn't see that coming. The envelope will contain 4 things. However, I messed up for a very long time because I could only find 3 of them.
Oh, really?
I didn't know there was a 4th thing.
I was like stuck inside the envelope or something.
Yeah. Guess which of the ones?
The tiny little piece of paper with the code on it that you need.
Yes. So I couldn't figure that one out. There is
an old school floppy disk.
Yeah, but would only fool anyone who'd never felt one before.
Yeah, you pick that up and you're like,
it's twice as thick as it should be.
And it's heavy, but it's not.
And the top doesn't slide like it should.
That's the first thing I did was like, oh yeah, oh wait, that doesn't actually slide.
And that was the other part you had to help me with because I was convinced I needed to unlock the top to make it slide.
Right.
Because that was how we got into them in the old days. You almost had to sometimes to fix them or to get the information before it was totally ruined and gone forever. The peanut butter cup is a red herring, but it's also told in the story a bit, I think.
Yeah.
And there's a piece of paper that you need to fold, which has the lines on it. It kind of gives you that to you. But really, you don't have to fold it because if you realize the first word in each line says, go to keychain website, which goes back to the ID barcode one we had before, which I was very worried about the barcode. I thought I'm going to have to get a barcode reader. And what if it doesn't read it correctly? But really wasn't a problem. You nicely copied that one.
I did, yes.
In case I messed it up. You even wrote a little note on the back. This is a copy. Do whatever you need to. Yeah. But really, I saw that one and I folded it a little bit, looked up to the light, realized what was going on. I didn't have to mess with it. So I think that could actually be reused. The thing that really irritated me for a very long time was a fortune teller.
Yeah, it's like a fortune cookie.
Fortune cookie paper. A dubious friend may be an enemy in camouflage with lucky numbers. Because I had been looking for those lucky numbers for a very long time. Didn't realize that was in there. In an act of desperation, I went back to the envelope and found it.
Right.
I pretty much guarantee the first thing out of this, if you lose anything, is going to be that thing. It kept falling on the floor. I had to go and find it again. It's just so small, so delicate. That's the thing that I'm worried most about losing. The disc, I knew something was in it. And I pretty much immediately, when you look at the old, hard floppy disks, there's the silver side. And so it looks good, but I knew that's the middle of the cipher coin. I need this because before I'd done this, I'd been trying to solve all the puzzles at the bottom.
Right.
And
so did you have all this open at this point then?
I did not have it all open.
Okay.
So I was just doing what I could see. I could see 2. I could see 4. I could mostly see
some of
3.
5, some of 3.
Yeah. But 1 and 6 were completely hidden from me. But I thought, stupidly, maybe I need to solve some of these in order to open up the map. Maybe there's a trick I just don't know. But where we're supposed to be at this point is going to the website. And on the website...
I had a big problem with this part. I had a huge problem with this part. Whenever I typed this in, it just took me to the Theory 11 website.
Did it?
Yeah. I couldn't get on. I typed it again. I must have typed it about 10 times, thinking this is weird. This can't be right. And then I don't know what I did differently, but I typed it in and then I got to that, the red thing with like the code in the front.
That's weird. I had no problem with that at all. If you go to help anywhere on the website, though, it basically takes you to a forum where I think there are hints and people can help you. It very wisely warns you, this is not part of the game.
Yeah.
This is to help you if you're stuck. If you want to just do it on your own, go back. A great spoiler warning and being very clear. And I like that. Everything about the site changed. It didn't just come up as a weird text pop-up on that site with the same thing. It was like, you're in a completely different site. This is a completely different area with more game logo stuff than ARG stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. It was a very clear delineation. This is not where you want to be if you want to play the game. But I had this problem of getting in because you need the password.
Yes.
And I couldn't figure out the password. I saw on the back of this keychain what vaguely represents a thumb. I thought it was some sort of QR code that would be special that I'd have to find a special reader for, maybe. But it's not that. What it is, well, what you gave me a great hint. You said, do you remember the Transformers toys?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if they've ever done it since, but the old Gen ones, they all had a sticker on it that you're meant to put your thumb on and get it warm, and then you could tell if it was a Decepticon or an Autobot, which is dumb because if you watch the cartoon, you knew
Yeah, exactly.
allegiance. I was always waiting for the day where I found out there would be a secret one. Oh, it's really a double agent.
It's a double agent, yeah. half Autobot, half Decepticon symbol on it.
Of course, the first thing I thought of, though, was the power stats that we always had to use the red piece of clear film to look at. And I was looking everywhere for one of those. And I go, oh, wait a second. No. This looks somewhat like a thumb. So you want me to put that on there. And then I got angry. I said, it's just a symbol. It's not a word. But of course, the word is
the symbol.
The symbol. Which is very good. It's very good. And when you get inside, I love the website. There's so many things going on here. You have a junk folder with random bits of video production mostly. You have back and forth video messages between our character of
Patrick and
Martin Maloney.
Neil Patrick Harris, yeah.
And it shows a progression of what was happening in our story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really good. Like you said, the ARG element to it is really fun. They did a great job with the video stuff. It didn't fool me ever into thinking, oh, he's really trapped. But it was well acted.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like some Joe Schmo who has an escape room trying to record it himself. These are professional actors doing this. It worked well.
Who was the guy, though? Who was the guy doing the Paul Maloney? Is it Paul Maloney? Was it?
Martin
Maloney.
You've got me here. I don't know his name, but he is an actor friend of Neil's, as we would all find out later.
Yeah.
I think that that's probably a good thing that he isn't super famous, because it adds a bit to the ARG element.
Yeah.
If he'd brought in somebody he'd worked with before, like Jason Segel from How I Met Your Mother, I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Kind of breaks it.
Yeah, that would kind of break it. This worked well. This worked very, very well. I suspect he's a stage actor.
Okay, yes.
As far as the website, then, as I said, you've got the junk folder, you've got these video messages, you also have some images, production, design images, things that you might actually find. And the website, though very limited in what it has, and the content is very limited, it feels much more real than most of the ones we found, say, going back to Black Watchman.
Right, yeah.
Where you would get in, and clearly this Facebook page only has 2 friends, and all the comments are from people playing the game. This didn't have that. And I think that it's clever for them to do it all in-house, to have their own website with everything on it this way. I think it works very well. But even within that, I'm finding these clues. There's a video where it zooms in on NPH password. This.
That was a bit obvious, yeah.
But it made you question everything.
Yeah, it made you think like, okay, there's stuff in these videos that I need to be keeping an eye out for.
You need to have one obvious one so that it makes you want to look at everything.
Although
a lot of
we were already looking for everything anyway, man. Come on, ever since we played Pony Island.
True. I think that a lot of the extra stuff, though, is nice. It's just nice to see the game box being put together in a way.
I mean, at the same time, one thing that I wrote down here was that what I think part of this game is, it is aimed at people who are hardcore, maybe puzzlers and want to do that. But this is also a kind of nice entry-level puzzle for someone who thinks, oh, I don't want to go to an escape room because I don't want to look like an idiot. So I want to play this on my own. And so this is like a really nice entry-level escape room for someone to play on their own to get an idea for what an escape room is. And so there are super obvious hints like the one we've just talked about, but there's also, you still need to have a brain to do the game, but it's just giving you that big, massive neon sign hint like, nah, nah, nah. Here's a password, keep your eyes on the video, look for stuff, and then hopefully that first timer will get an idea for how to play it, But yeah, I like that entry-level kind of thing. It's a puzzle for everyone.
I love as well through the story section, the videos where they're talking to each other back and forth.
And getting progressively angrier and weirder.
But I also love it. It's through that, but also through the emails where they start to say, oh, well, I think that your phrasing was real estate. We need more real estate for doing some of the stuff that we want to do. Because in the videos, it makes it seem like Neil Patrick Harris just wants some cards, wants it to be small, wants it to be simple.
Yeah.
But Martin's coming up with all this other stuff. And then the story progresses where Neil Patrick Harris apparently likes what he's doing and decides he's going to trap this guy into the office. You're locked in forever. You can't escape. And I'm taking all the credit for the game. After that, that kind of leads you to the in-house chat, right? The staff chat.
That's right.
Where you leave a message. You have to find just the right message to reply with. Yeah, that took me a few tries to do.
It's one of the hints from the cards or something, isn't it?
That was, I believe, where the circled words come in.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't need every circled word.
No, that's right. There's a couple that are important, yeah.
And you have to know the right order, I believe, as well. So that took me a few tries to do, but once I did it, I got in. The thing is, you have to do it at the top of the hour. Well, at least that's what the game says, so I'm assuming
it does,
so.
Yeah. I couldn't get in until I had to wait. I was playing this, and I got to this part of the game at about maybe 1:10 in the morning. And so I was like, I think I missed my window. Because I think they give you about 5 minutes. So I waited until 2. And then I got to 2, and then the next bit happens.
You have a few bits of conversation back and forth, which is great. I love the way that it responds. It feels very natural.
Yeah.
But then come back in 24 hours. Oh, no. All right. But in the meantime, check out inside the pen, I think it says.
Yeah.
So that's where you get the hint of you can use the pen, which you don't really need to, but you could use the pen to push up on the bottom, and now you would see the map. And that's where I went, oh yeah, I totally broke the game. I was doing this way earlier. And that's where I knew I had to get in. So pretty much the rest of my evening, way later than I intended to stay up, once I got the map open, I went, oh, I need to do this. So I pretty much solved all of the things there once you help me with the floppy disk.
Yeah.
The floppy disk is a trick. It just unhinges. But I was so afraid of breaking it in so many ways.
So was I. I was terrified when when I looked at that, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to tear the sticker off of it, or I'm gonna have to get into it somehow. But no, that's what the sticker's for. The sticker is the hinge.
Yes, and that works quite well. There's no real hint as to that, though, and I would have liked for them to have a hint somewhere in the game for that.
Because all he says in the game, he's like, just find a way. He does tell you, find a way to get into the disc, but that's it.
Yeah. Find me a way to get in
that
doesn't involve breaking
here.
it. Yeah. The other huge complaint I would have, that's minor, I think, compared to, I really would have loved if they picked a different font for the handwriting.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with ciphers, you need those letters to be very clear, and so many of them are not.
Yeah.
It could be this or this, and maybe that's part of what they had in mind, but really, what I would say is make it clear. Especially if it's a cipher, you need to have those letters very clear. It's fine when it's like the first one. I'll give you everybody the first number one, because this is the let me warm up into it, which I wasn't doing because I started with 3 and 2. But the first one is banana. This is to make sure that you have the cipher right. And I love this. It's showing you how it works. It's showing you, yes, this is an easy one, because the other words are words that I had mostly not heard of. I think the last 2 are good, but 2, 3, and 4 was a tough one just because, again, I was confusing one of the letters. But the very next one is ruidoso. I was like, I don't know what that is.
Made up word.
Maybe it has to do with magic. Neil Patrick Harris, very into magic, as comes into clue 5, which I also had a bit of a problem with, because the last one, the last letter in that one is a question mark, and there are multiple words which would fit that. So it took me a few tries to get to that one. Here's the thing, though. So I solved it. I pretty much solved most of it, or had thought that I had solved most of it. And then the next day, I get on, and Martin will say, oh, good, it's you. He'd even given an alternate password just in case.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed I didn't get to use that. But you get in, and he said, oh, actually, you didn't really need 24 hours. I just wanted to make sure it was you, or that Neil would use the peanut butter cup thing, or something. I don't know. There was something he gave as to why that needed to be.
Oh, that's right. The peanut butter cup isn't a red herring. It's got a hint on it, because it's like, what's the shape? One of the things is the star, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. As far as the next part, this is really fun because you get to see video streams of
the CCTV, which I watched for far too long to see the whole loop.
I think I waited until he looked bored, and then I got to what I was doing. Since I had already solved most of them, I was rushing through, this one, the first, I think, 3, it was real quick. There's one in there, I think, that says, you need to look at my desk, which I was very angry about until I got to this part, because I thought it was meant to be from the other videos. So I rewatched the videos of him looking for a desk, looking for anything that could be a cipher.
Yeah.
The way, though, that the ciphers are given to you is brilliant. There's one inside the box that you can kind of see.
That was one of the first things I saw, yeah.
But it hints that you should flash at it, so you want to take a picture with your flash, which makes it stand out very, very distinctly. Whereas you can just kind of sort of see it if you're looking, as we do, just holding up to the light and moving it around.
Yeah. Because that's what is A equals U or something like that, isn't it? That's inside yours.
There is a spot on the map that has one part, and the other part of the cipher is in one of the cards, which you need to dig out and put up. You have one, I think, isn't it the first card that you have to look up to the light?
Oh, yeah, there's one, yeah.
Which is really, really good. I was so surprised by that. I thought, the card's done now.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it has yet another use.
Yeah.
And the way they've made it is very clever as well, because I had been playing with it looking up to the light, but you have to hold it right up to the light. It has to be very bright to get through.
Oh, it's that black one. It's got something else through it.
So I did need to wait until I got to this point in the video to be able to see that last cipher. Had some annoying parts, again, just because of the font that they've chosen, but you get to see each stage as they're going through. It's following the map that's on the bottom of the box. It's just really fun.
Yeah.
And then you get to the end, he gets to escape, says thank you, and is gone. And it's over.
Or is it?
Or is it? Because there's one last thing. And this is probably the one thing that I would change slightly about the game. Well, the font is definitely the other thing, and maybe having a clue. So this would be the third thing, I guess. Hidden inside the black envelope with the card, you will need this card later, the very first card we looked at, is another card. There's no safe way to get it out, at least not the way that it's packaged.
Nah.
And this is another thing that I had very early on asked you about, because I said, this envelope feels very thick. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's quality paper. Maybe that's why it is the way it is. Maybe the way it's folded. But I think there's another card inside.
I think even if you shake it, you can hear something inside it.
I think maybe the way you re-glued it back together, it didn't. I couldn't hear it.
Okay.
I said, I really think there's something else in here, but I don't want to tear this open and I can't find a way in. And you're like, at that point, I wasn't to this part in the game. And you're like, no, don't do it. And then I got to the end and I saw this note saying, hey, you need to get into that envelope. There's one more card. And I said, oh, what's on the card? And you're like, oh, you need to figure it out yourself. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and cut it open. I did. And then re-glued it back together, which that's the part that's going to be the worst, because as we keep gluing it, and it's going to get more obvious, and it's definitely going to get ripped at some point. I used a knife to very gently pry the glue apart. Yeah, inside is a card with a website that basically takes you to an extra video with Neil Patrick Harris saying, congratulations, you did it. You've won. Here's my friend, the actor. I didn't really have him kidnapped. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I did.
Yeah, me too.
I really did. And I hope, as you said, I hope that there's a box 2. I would love to have a whole series of these. The problem is we're very impatient.
Yeah.
The good thing is we did get in kind of early on to this one. The bad thing is now we have to wait a very long time to get to the second one. Because something like this would take quite a while, I think, to devise and make sure that it works properly. And then beyond that, just the actual physical production of it, I think, is really something. And I think having access to more of those videos, I think if there were more videos of everything being put together, a lot of us would love to see that. I love to watch things about how it's made and seeing the machinery and the process. But that would have had to have been given in that same spot where the answers already are.
Yeah.
Because if you showed this being put together, it would give away so many things. Box 1, a very interesting experience. I was happy to do. I don't know if it has quite the replayability. There's nothing that's going to be quite as exciting as when I found the fake cards and the empty spot. Thinking, originally, looks like there's about 200 cards. This is going to take a while. But I'm ready for it. It. And I wouldn't have minded. But finding that just opened my eyes and made me laugh. And I said, this is going to be something special. And it definitely was.
Yeah, because even when we opened it, when it arrived, because it arrived when we were recording the last time, wasn't it? Or something like that. It was just, it arrived the same day or the day before. And then even when we opened it up and we're like, oh, what's this box? A nice bronze kind of box. And then there's a bunch of cards in there. I even kind of like went through a few of the cards, but I didn't actually pick them out of the box and ruin that surprise.
Thank goodness. Like, because that would have been a disaster for both of us.
Yeah. And so, yeah, the whole game is just like this really fun discovery of just like having kind of like little tricks played on you and like being very innovative with the design and like squeezing in like new ideas for puzzles and stuff. And this, I mean, it got me thinking about it got me into the box one mode of thinking like, oh, I wonder what else they could do. You know, like, is that why they didn't do? Because like even this top box, I was like, because it's like indented, isn't it? It's like
I was
inlaid.
so sure we were going to get the full picture of
like,
Neil Patrick Harris because you just see his eye, and I was just waiting for the time where you could pull that out.
Yeah, because I mean, it's in the side here, it's in the top here. There is an actual label here. It feels like a sticky label. I thought maybe you have to peel this off. I mean, I'm glad that you don't have to completely destroy the box. That's good, but I did expect something more with this. I mean, who knows? Maybe there is something in there. Maybe I have to take a knife to it. No, but
maybe later on. So you have to have the whole series.
That would be really interesting if you got to like box 2 and like, oh yeah, by the way,
do you have box 1?
Yeah,
get that out.
Yeah, have a look at that. Yeah,
I think that would be a really great thing if they get to say box 5 or box 10 to start going. All right, now go back to box 1.
It's a good way to sell boxes, man. That's for sure. Yeah.
Pull out card 12. Look at the 5th word.
But no, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to play, and I will definitely be jumping on box 2 when it comes out, man, for sure. Replayability wise, the only replayability it has for me is kind of like the joy of giving it to someone else to play, you know, and then having them solve it, and then you guys can talk about it, you know, something like that. So yeah, totally worth it. But yeah, when I got it and opened it up, I was like, oh man, I just got ripped off. There's only 4 things in this box. Can't believe I paid all that shipping. And Neil Patrick Harris does actually talk about that in the videos as well, doesn't he? He mentions it. Like, yeah, it doesn't look like a lot at first, but there's so much more inside.
Yeah. Why do we need the pen?
Yeah. That's a nice pen. Pretty cool. This reminds me of like back in the day when I used to read those like survival books, and they had like survival fountain pens, and you could stuff like matches and stuff. So if your plane ever crashed and you landed on a deserted island and you had your survival fountain pen, you could, you know, hunt wild boar with it or something like that. Good stuff, good times. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I want to keep talking about it.
I know you do. This is why I keep trying to end this and you keep starting back up again.
Neil, if you're listening, get to work. Trap someone else in a basement this time. 2 people, preferably.
1 extra person for each box.
Yeah, exactly. Gaps filled and more gaps created.